Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year! This year, 2018, is going to be an amazing year. What we're going to talk about today is Joseph Stamler, again, your host. We are going to talk about trauma. Well, this is at least my opinion on trauma. So, a lot of times when people go through a traumatic experience, there's pretty much two roads that can be taken at the time of the trauma, after the trauma, to deal with the trauma. So you have sometimes people that, actually this is most of the time I feel, that somebody experiences a trauma, and of course nobody can understand what they've been through or what they've gone through. But what happens is that they let the trauma define who they are. Meaning that because they've been through the trauma, therefore they might have anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, all these disorders that come up from the trauma. And what happens is that when people go through trauma, absolutely, it's a lot of change that people have to go through. So of course you got to try to walk through it. But the thing is that you can't, some people let it define them, meaning that because of the trauma, let's say they have depression, okay? So now, their entire life moving forward, they're in the category of depression. And therefore, the reason why I can't do this and this with my life is because I am diagnosed with depression. And I have a depression disorder. And therefore, I have to take my medication to help me cope with it and work through it. But that's why you cannot expect me to be more than anything other than, somebody that has gone through something and therefore have depression or have anxiety. And it defines them. What happens is when somebody's defined by one of these categories, it limits their ability to achieve anything they want to past that, because they say, listen, I can't achieve this kind of stuff because I'm diagnosed depressed. I have anxiety disorder. I have bipolar disorder. So therefore, I only belong in this box, in this area. So that's one way. And unfortunately, I feel that a lot of people go that route. And the reason why I'm saying unfortunately is because a lot of people that go that route get stuck there for a long period of time in their life. And they're kind of not giving them a shot. They're not giving themselves a shot to really achieve things that they really can achieve, with knowing that they're not limited by their experience. To give you the flip side of that, take somebody, for example, that had an amputation, and then they go ahead and end up running a whole marathon, right? It's crazy, like just a thought. Think about it. Somebody has an amputation, they're missing a leg. That's definitely a traumatic experience. And then they go ahead and they decided, you know what? I'm not letting this hold me back. What I'm going to do is I am going to go to physical therapy, and I'm going to work hard to walk again. I'm going to work hard to run again. And not only that, I have a personal goal for myself where I want to run a marathon. I want to finish a marathon. And, the first month they're in physical therapy, it's not like, oh, here we go, I'm ready to run the marathon. No, they got to really work hard at it. So it's very slow and painful process, and it's definitely mentally challenging. However, that person that overcomes that with their amputation, and they have their prosthetic, and they run and finish that marathon, not only did that person crush their trauma and overcame their trauma, but now they've used that traumatic experience to inspire others. And that is that's a much more positive way, and they live their life, and they live their goals, and they're able to achieve things most people didn't think they could achieve. So that's a route where you end up beating the trauma. And that all has to do with a lot of hard work, self-confidence, self-esteem, building yourself up, showing progress. As you make progress, you want to make more progress. And by feeling good about yourself is when you make better choices in life. Sometimes when you limit yourself based on the category that they put you in, you don't believe that you can do more. And by that lack of belief, it holds you back from achieving what you're meant to accomplish and what you could really achieve in life. And I'll end with one last thing. My grandparents were in the Holocaust. And, my grandfather, he was in the concentration camps. And he had a lot of near-death experiences, guns pointed at his head and all that. And he survived it. And then my grandmother, who was like one of 7, 8 kids, during the Holocaust, she lost both parents and all her siblings except one. And yet, when they came to America, they weren't categorized in a category of depression, anxiety, bipolar, any of these categories because of the trauma they went through during the concentration camp. Instead, they came here, they rolled up their sleeves, and they said, you know what, we're not going to let this trauma hold us back, and we are going to do whatever it takes to build our lives back up. And they built their lives back up, had a great business, raised great kids. I mean, look at it. I'm the grandchild, so they did a great job raising their kids and family, and they built up to an amazing family that we have. And it's all thanks to my grandparents and all their hard work and dedication to not let anything hold them back. Remember, start living. And if you want to reach out to me, you can reach me at josephstamler.com.